with his nice completely shaved head. I haven't said too much. There's a bunch
I think we're limiting it. We're like getting more and more details.
Hello and welcome to the Famous Musicians Podcast. This is episode 38. I'm here with Paul Kerekes, a good friend of mine, and I did not bring any questions. We're just gonna interact here, and he has some new pieces he's about to show the world. So I'm just trying to give him a platform to do that, and here we go.
Joe, thank you so much for being. I was just gonna say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for being here.
My gosh, it's so good to be here. We haven't talked in a while,
awesome.
And this is just a great opportunity. I'm happy that we're just like freestyling this, and I get to play my pieces and have like some element of live music go on in this crazy world we're in right now. So it's just really nice. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remind me, what are these particular pieces for? This wasn't the commission stuff, right?
No, yeah, this goes back actually quite a bit. It just occurred to me the other day. 2011 was 9 years ago. That's when I wrote this piece, which is insane.
Right.
And it was actually, they were the first pieces I wrote when I started grad school, which, is kind of this big sort of, what am I trying to say? This like, I felt like I really graduated as a composer when I went into grad school. It was a bit of a later start for me. And I wrote a piece for piano, cello, and flute the previous year that kind of got me going on this path that was like a slightly different compositional voice, but it was like just fun to sort of explore that and also just be in a new place when I started.
Was that
school.
Hale?
Yes, that was Hale. So yeah, the trio for
that was Hale. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. The trio for flute, cello, and piano was Hale, and I wrote that for just like a music festival. Actually, it was a summer festival that I did. And it just turned out to be, and it was short. It was like 5.5 minutes, but it has sort of, I've always kind of viewed it as like this opus one, but lack of, at risk of sounding
like you didn't
pretentious
like
about it. But
you made, right? But the stuff you made prior was like just sort of getting warmed up.
I was kind of just like figuring it out and feeling stuff out. And at Queens College,
Stuff for the choir, though. There was a couple of good choir pieces you did.
Oh, right? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, there was that's the thing. Like when I feel silly saying like I had, it was my opus one. I figured it out. That was, my voice. Because it's still changing, and I remember it's funny. I remember presenting Hale at one of the first graduate seminars that we had at Yale, and saying that I was like, everybody, this is my, my new thing. It was just like, and I could just see one of my teachers was just like, oh really? Is this your new voice here?
But it's
because he knew he had been through. Exactly. He was on the other side of that, seeing that of course it's like this constant journey, and we're accumulating influences all the time. And I've gone through several different phases of just different types of music that I become obsessed with, and it just kind of absorbs and it comes out in the pieces. So I think at Queens College, what I kind of going back to what I was saying before, the sound was kind of, since I was taking a lot of piano lessons, a lot of romantic repertoire, also a lot of modernist stuff. I had really been getting into like Schoenberg, Webern, and I think, I'm making a generalization here, but at Queens College, because it was so kind of theory intensive, I think there was this tendency towards like post-tonal in that kind of serialist way or set theory.
Where?
At Queens College. Yeah.
At Queens College it was.
Right.
Okay.
And I think, my early pieces were sort of influenced by that too, and just like my own love for serialism, post tonality,
Yeah.
set theory, even, you know.
Yeah.
And when I think of those early pieces, like you were saying, the choir piece, there was another one before that I wrote for like a mixed chamber ensemble.
Was there the thing with the? I know that
Yeah.
the Joey Persano did the pajamas and balloons or whatever, and you had a piece on that
Oh
too, right?
yes, that's right. Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah, we did like stuff for chamber orchestra. That was
That
really
was
fun.
cool.
That was an
I
amazing.
haven't done any chamber orchestra stuff after that. That was like my first and only chamber orchestra
Oh, that's
experience.
awesome. You were playing piano in that? I have like.
I was doing orchestral piano,
Oh
like
my
count
god.
45 bars and don't
Yeah,
screw it up.
exactly. Right, no cue, just come. It's like
It's great.
you and the
But I mean,
percussionists back
it's so
there.
tremendously exciting.
Yeah.
It is to do stuff like that. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a little too exciting. It
I
freaks me the
loved
hell out.
that.
Yeah,
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 no, it was such an amazing environment at Queens where we could sort of do whatever we wanted.
yeah,
In fact, I
yeah,
remember some of our friends, transferred in from Juilliard. They were, where they were maybe pigeonholed into a certain area or pressured to practice one certain type of music. I'll never forget
yeah,
John Singer, a percussionist who I wrote a piece for, was able to really kind of explore tabla music at Queens College and, really just do whatever you want. So that was just a great example of Joey putting together this concert. I can't remember I think Riona Ito is the name of the conductor.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, it's all coming back to us.
Yeah. What?
And that was really fun. Yeah, that was, and again, towards the end of the degree, I think when I was like sort of transitioning to this more like process oriented music. So I think that was the whole point of that giant speech I just gave, was that I think I was sort of throughout Queens College sort of honing in on this type of music that was fulfilling processes rather than sort of manipulating pitch material as much. And yeah, all of that still informs what I do. I don't think it was like this clear rejection of the past. It was like always constantly evolving and
But was
actually,
like
oh yeah.
was like? Did you relate to serialism at Queens College the way that like I'd say like, well, I want to write a hip hop piece. I don't want to do anything like Beethoven. Like, was that the establishment sort of almost?
That's what I feel like it was coming off that way when I was describing it before, but I want to emphasize that I do genuinely love that
Oh, okay.
music. Like it really, yeah,
Okay.
I think it was a little bit of both, to answer your question honestly.
Yeah.
There was a bit of this pressure because you're presenting stuff on composers concerts. All of our repertoire was kind of with each other. That was probably more my problem than it was actually the school's like pressure. I think, I was like new to it and just starting out, and you want to sort of fit in a little bit, but
For sure.
also
For sure.
express your own likes too. So, I really did genuinely get into Schoenberg, Webern. And Perron gave me a couple pieces even to do on the piano. Um, but yeah, I think perhaps part of it was also kind of operating within sort of the common language that had been going on, like within the department already. And yeah, I loved my teachers. I listened to their music. It was just kind of absorbing my surroundings constantly, and I think that has continued. From that point on. When I was at Yale, I absorbed a lot of different other kinds of music, and then from there I find actually more recently that I'm kind of going back to the the stuff that I was doing like at Queens College, like we were saying. I think more recently I've sort of embraced the romanticism and expressionism, like again, but while combining that with the more minimalist things I'm interested in doing too. So I think,
What was that? Was that
yeah.
Antonio Hart was the one when
Oh,
we did
oh my gosh, I forgot
with
about
some
that.
soprano? No, that's it was alto saxophone thing
Yeah.
that Justin Kerekes was playing. You were playing. It was like you're like the next great George Gershwin,
Oh my
like whatever.
gosh.
He's like it was like you're
I
American. American songwriter. It's like continuing in the great tradition.
Yeah, which was just the highest compliment. I mean, that guy was so cool. He is so cool, and and a bit intimidating too, because it was this kind of jury environment too.
Yeah.
So it was mainly for Justin, I think, in that moment, but it was really nice for him to like just kind of take an aside and be like, great
Well,
piece.
he was the weird thing too is Antonio Hart he was teaching full time, he was
Yeah.
gigging all the time, but he was also talking about like how he was practicing like 9 hours. Oh no. At
Oh
some
wow.
point in his life,
Oh.
he was doing. I wasn't saying that he was still doing it now. I think there was where he went on with his phone. I wish it, whatever. But I think I thought at the time that he was saying that as well as being a full time faculty member and gigging, he was also practicing in a room, soundproofed room, 9 hours a day, just like saxophone technique.
That's
But
crazy.
I think he was saying that he had put in the time at some indeterminate point in the past where it was 9 hours a day.
Where it was like 9. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised though if
Yeah, it was
it was even
some
while I was
grueling
there.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's true. I
Yeah.
think most of the time you could just hear saxophone coming from his office. I think if he wasn't walking in the hallways, he probably was in his office practicing.
Right. Just
But
just
yeah,
shedding. It's
yeah,
just
just
unbelievable.
shedding. Exactly. Do you remember the jazz program was pretty cool, right? I mean, like they were only on the grad
Apparently, it
level.
was something to of note. It was apparent
Yeah.
like it was a highly touted jazz program. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I sort of got that impression just as like an
In
undergrad
fact, that
too.
was
Like,
part of the reason why I didn't get into it because it was such a yeah.
Oh, did you apply to that
Yeah,
grad
I mean,
program in jazz?
I think I was always interested in jazz stuff, but
Uh-huh.
oh no, not at all, not at all. I took a few private lessons
Yeah.
with a jazz pianist like way after the fact, just for pleasure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because
I would
you're
have
such a
done I
natural with
think
that
more
too.
stuff in the jazz idiom.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I appreciate that. But
it was a yeah, there were some great students
I
there.
think I didn't do more. Was idiom.
Yeah. Oh no, Joe, I think the connection is a little is it hard on your end?
Yeah, you froze for a
Yay for
second. You froze for a
Zoom.
second too.
Okay. Yeah, I think
I think
it's probably me.
did it auto adjust or whatever?
Yeah, it's just a little stuttery right now. Crap. Let me I'm not sure
Did
there's
itself?
anything.
There's usual. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's anything I can do with it. I think it's just
No,
the
it'll
internet can
just correct itself.
it'll just
Yeah.
correct itself. Yeah. I'm kind of tempted to change Wi-Fi's here. I'm sorry to interrupt the interview like this.
Oh, to see if you can try the five, like if you have a wired 5G thing or something.
Yeah, do you mind if I just connect to one of those? I think that's going to help
Go
actually.
for it. Go for it.
Okay. Bear with me. Hopefully,
I do
let's
have
see
a
if it
wired
drops the
connection
call.
myself. So
Yeah. Okay. Hold on one second.
okay. Yes, yeah.
All right. Are we still here?
I'm still here.
Are you breathing? Okay.
Oh, yeah, you could.
Your face is actually it's like frozen on you with this great face right now. I almost want to like
Oh,
take a
nice.
screenshot.
What was the guy you said it was a tennis instructor who had the crazy old man voice?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's right. One of the and that's great because we're talking about Queens College.
Right.
One of the humanities requirement. I don't know. Actually, it probably wasn't a humanities requirement. I think it literally was just a phys ed requirement that was like part of the.
Yeah, I did stupid stuff like that too. Yeah.
You had to do that too, and it ended
Uh,
up being like one of the greatest like experiences ever because this teacher was he. I got the impression that he had been there probably for like 35 years plus or something. He had like all of
yeah.
this wisdom,
Yeah.
and I remember he would always say the definition of or yeah, he did kind of have a raspy voice. It was a little bit like this maybe.
Right. I remember
And
that. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
he would always just like every class, it was almost as if he like forgot he said this. He would always be like, the definition of insanity means you do the same thing twice in a row or something like that, right? You've heard that
Expecting
phrase.
the same result or something.
Oh, that's right. Exactly.
Expecting a different result. Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
But it was like that kind of class where it's like, yeah, we were doing badminton, but like he had these little like aphoristic wisdoms that
Yeah.
he would like just sprinkle in like that, and it was
Yeah.
just really really funny. And you get these old New York guys, at Queens College. Sometimes I had a teacher for a Cold War class that I took too. It was just like the most Queens, New York person. I didn't even care what he was saying. I was just like
Yeah.
loving that energy all the
Yeah.
time.
Just
Yeah.
there's an air about him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, that was the guy. I'm not going to say his name because
Got it.
I don't want to.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the other one that I didn't want to say his name either. Um, he's a virtuoso pianist. We both know.
Yes.
Um, you know what? I can actually say more than that. This is as a descriptor, without enumerating too many things. He's a Russian virtuoso pianist. We both know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And it's funny, it's not that we're saying bad things about any of these people. It's just like
No,
I don't know.
yeah,
It's a weird
just
privacy thing.
it's a reflection.
Yeah.
But I was this gentleman in question that I know you're aware of with the little information I provided, was was giving a concert recently the other day,
Yes.
remotely,
Mm.
and I was in preparation for catching it because I knew it was going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
But this is I'm making a criticism, which is why I'm still not.
No, which is why. Okay, so in this
But
case,
I was
more applicable.
perusing, or I
Yeah.
was perusing YouTube for things that he had done recently.
Yeah.
Um, and there was a lesson. There was a remote lesson
That
and
he was giving or
he was
receiving.
giving, and it was
Okay.
being like it was some bonus. Like this gentleman from it was ABRSM, I believe. ABRSM level 4. He is like, you won this competition. You get to have a lesson with this, celebre,
Right.
this fabulous
Competition winning, kind of
musical
artist.
luminary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was giving this lesson with his nice completely shaved head. I haven't said too much. There's a
I think we're limiting it. We're like getting more and more details. All right, everybody. This is I'm not gonna list them again. I'm sorry.
So the plays a little bit of Haydn, and he stops him after 2 measures. This guileless 13-year-old, and he says, you have to sing it. You have to sing it. You have to hear. And he also starts to go, you have to understand. Haydn has given us. Oh, what has he given us? Oh, divine. Oh, great master. Haydn has given us this. Where there's this one line, and then after he goes this line, it's very jagged. You have to show those differences. In just those 2 measures, you haven't shown those differences. And remember, to really play this, you have to be able to sing it. And
right.
the gentleman in question enters into a version of a baritone singing voice, and sorry, and he says, "How about you try? How about you try singing?" And then he's singing, and he goes, "See, but when you sung it, you stopped on that note, and that's what's going wrong." And I stopped and I thought about this, and I realized. There's no question that the gentleman in question who's giving this lesson is an excellent pianist. But there are so many things that are so wildly arbitrary, and by so many other conflicting rules, wouldn't make any sense. Like, for instance, when this gentleman said you have to sing it, I don't think what he was doing could be considered singing by the rules of singing. Like, I'm very well acquainted with the rules of bel canto singing. I don't consider what he just did, which was the right hand of a Haydn sonata, a couple octaves lower, can legally be called singing. But in the limited paradigm of sing the phrase, of course, it's considered instructive. It's all relative.
Right.
Neither do I think that it's instructive to be interrupting the student after he plays 2 measures to tell him about the great profundity of these 2 measures. I think that
I've had master classes like that too, where it's just like
this needless
a few
browbeating.
beats. Right. You can't get past the first system or something.
Yeah, and I know where that comes from because I You know that
Yeah,
gentleman's
right. You know that too, exactly, and that's
uh,
and there are benefits to that, but yeah, it just depends
in
on
a
the
very like yeah,
yeah,
and I get it. I get it. Like, this was how this gentleman was taught, and I
right.
mean, far be it from him to deviate because he's certainly had great success. But
Hmm.
it just I especially coming from more of a creator standpoint as a composer or someone, I think what this 13-year-old is playing is
Hmm.
their creation. It's their interpretation of this public domain work.
Mm.
And how dare you interrupt this person's creative process where like he's sharing something with you, which is
Right.
his how he hears this entire piece. Now, and if you want to interrupt him, what you're saying is, I don't believe you know what you're doing. You are an idiot. I'm going to tell you why you're an idiot by these rules that I just made up. Because, oh, it's this 52 card pickup, and you're playing gin rummy, and gin rummy is invalid because I'm playing 52 card pickup. You can't have it. There's nothing you're doing can possibly be valid, and in Canada, wherever the hell you're doing it, because listen to me, by my rules, you've already screwed up.
Oh, I
And I'm just like,
know.
how dare
Yeah.
you? Like, what if he had written a piece and you did that?
Mm.
What if Sondheim was like, guess what? I'm doing, was it, what the hell was the song? With the, finishing the hat? Finishing the hat. You need more of a line there. You need more of a line. It's too, the line's too, it's like, what, come on. Like, why
Right,
are we
right,
not
right,
giving
right.
him that same, allowing
Yeah,
for him to just speak his mind and present what he has?
I agree. Because that's also my approach too. I want to get like a big picture,
Right.
of the piece. I think what you said before probably is the best reason too, like maybe it was the experience they had like in their lessons, like it was what they were
Yeah.
used to kind of, and that's how they approach practicing a piece. And I have to say, I think the times that I've had master classes like that, where the person giving it is going deep to this level where, you feel like you're not really getting past the first few bars a bit.
Yeah.
What I always take away from that though is, oh, I never really approached practicing the piece this way, or like I never even approached dissecting it as like deep as this. So I hope that student probably took, that mentality
Yeah.
away, like, this is how I should be thinking about,
But at the end of the day, here's the other
yeah,
thing, right? What
but
Haydn?
yeah,
It's the Esterhazy family. Was that the one that was supporting Haydn?
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Haydn's got some money from the Esterhazy family.
Yeah.
He's got to live. He's got to buy groceries. He's going to go to the club. All right. So
Right.
for him to get his weekly allowance from his proverbial Third Street, he had to crank something out. So
Right.
for some, wizened luminary to say,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is what he was really thinking, that he was
Oh,
like,
I see
I'm
what you're
going to
saying.
write a gliding line, and I'm going to make
Yeah.
it jagged, and I'm going to. He wasn't doing that.
Right. It was a little
Now,
too personal, probably. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that with Shakespeare, and I get that. Like, and then
Yeah.
obviously Shakespeare was just, and Schubert was just writing on bits of napkins so he could get his
Right.
coffee. I mean, but I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that yes, these are masterpieces, and yes, those are valid analyses. But the idea
Right.
that should somehow this incredibly detailed analyses should take precedence over what a creator is giving you, because I consider performers
Right.
creators. They're creating
Yes.
with the composer.
I think there should be more performers like that. I totally agree. I think that's like a really good performer. And if I'm thinking of the same person you're thinking of,
Yes.
they do kind of approach performance more as a composer. But I see what you're saying as like this nitpicking to the level of getting in the way of the composer is problematic. And yeah, the student needs to create, I guess, their own point of view.
Yeah, and it's just and I think about like what's the applicability or the practicality of this? Like if
Right.
I like okay, there's plenty of wonderful things you can say about lovely Rita Meter Maid or whatever the heck from the Beatles, and say these are all the harmonic areas it goes to, and this is in the text. This is where it happens in the text, And that's wonderful, and there's something great to be gleaned from that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to say that until I've internalized this and I understand this so well, I could tell it to an entire university class of undergraduates, I won't write one single rap song because I don't understand. I have not properly appropriated the form of popular chanson. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this
Right.
needlessly prescriptive way to look at things, which is just like,
Uh-huh.
why? Why?
Exactly.
Are you
Yeah.
playing? Are you here to play the piano, or are you here to talk about how no one can play the piano? Is
Right.
that,
Right.
or are we in the cult of no one is good enough?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I am totally on that side of the mentality, Like
Right.
this is, there needs to be more of that. Yeah, kind of just focus on the music really, the intention should be to frame the piece in a way that you feel the most proud of and you could put forth, there's no one set way of doing it or
Well, and the other thing
yeah.
is too is with these like these rules and stuff that you say, okay, fine. Let's just say all 64 of these Abrahamic Orthodox Jewish laws governing phrasing and technique, you do all of those perfectly. You
Mm-hmm.
could do all of those perfectly and have the most amusical performance you've ever played in your entire life.
Right.
Because you think, well, look, the phrase is perfectly good. We checked all these boxes. Oh, yes, okay, yes, and you put the five there.
Right.
Great. Now we just checked some boxes. You call that music? It's box checking music. You just
Right,
check some
exactly.
boxes.
Equals perfect.
Yeah, right. It's
Exactly.
like no,
It's
that's
not
no
something
one does.
you're yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You can't quite measure it, It's
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
yeah.
It
That's
grinds my gears.
it grinds my gears.